communicate to this back line, which has been a bit untested with two new players back there.
Dominguez and Noyola over the ball. On that whistle, second game of the day underway from Frisco, Texas. Klingenberg bringing it down. Set up field by Sauerbrunn. Stays in play. And now goes out for a USA throw-in. Heath and Dunn are out wide. We'll see if they can stretch that Mexico defense out more than they stretched out Costa Rica the other night. Another USA throw-in. Krieger. Carly Lloyd. Blocked there. The U.S. first on the ball. Julie Johnston high up the field. Krieger for Dunn. Swept away.
Well, already you're seeing Krieger basically with chalk on her cleats. She's pushed so far wide, and that's something head coach Jill Ellis wants more of. They want width, not only from their wingers, but also from their outside backs, and reestablishing it. So if Dunn comes in on this right side like you see she is, they want Krieger up there higher, touching that sideline, spreading out that back line of Mexico.
Here's where Mexico could be dangerous on the counter with Perez leading it, but that was too far. It's coming back towards Santiago, who's already played, despite her youth, in 2 Women's World Cups and 3 under-20 World Cups. So she was basically 16 years old when she was involved in international play. Second minute. By this time the other night, the U.S. was in front on an Alex Morgan goal, a record breaker in terms of the timing of it, 12 seconds into the game.
And that's something you know Mexico must have talked about in their pregame speech. Like, we cannot let up a goal that early.
Here's Morgan. Had a strong first game. It's deflected. Almost caught Santiago going the wrong way. Tobin Heath. Tackled out. USA throw-in. Klingenberg will take it. 27-year-old left back gets it in. Bryan pushed on the side. All the way back to Sauerbrunn, co-captain with Carly Lloyd, but Lloyd will wear the armband when both are on the field. We wondered how many changes Mexico would make from the other night, and they answered it by making just one. Did that surprise you?
I think it's all predicated on the Costa Rica game, because it is all about goal differential. You know, on one hand, they can go out, try to have this upset, beat the United States, play Dominguez, play Monsivias, and see how they do, or keep it respectable. Go out the other way, defend a little bit. Their fallback usually, traditionally in history, has been a 4-1, 4-1. Defend compactly, and then look to counter. This is more of a hybrid. You still see Dominguez, who is a special player. The question is, can they get service to her up top in the final third? I mean, I played against her. All of a sudden, she, out of nowhere, she comes and she finds those pockets, and she turns so fast. Even if you're the best, most athletic defender for the United States, it is incredibly hard to stop her.
Mentioned she's 37, scored 3 the other night. Also had 8 shots.
Yeah, that's a good picture of that back line right there. Mexico is not afraid to put 5 players on that back line, and you're talking about the lineup change. They took a forward out and added Mejia, number 14. She plays at Berkeley. She's now kind of sitting in as a right center back.
It's Monica Ocampo sending it in. Dominguez. The U.S. will have to deal with her presence up top. Coming all the way back. Mejia played it backwards. It's coming all the way back toward goal from Farias. Cecilia Santiago will send it to the wing. That's off Romero. And in that collision, the foul was called, and it's against the U.S. He paid a price for that foul. She's still down.
She's a bit surprised by it. Ocampo, who's now playing on the right side in this game. I think that's on Ocampo. I don't think that's on Heath at all.
Yeah, I did too.
She leaves her feet because she knows her first touch got away from her. She leaves her feet, 2 foots to Heath.
No wonder she was
vicious.
surprised.
Yeah. It wasn't vicious or intent, but.
Here's Farias on the ball. Used to play at UCal Irvine, where she's now a volunteer assistant coach. She'll float one up towards the USA box. Never got there. Cleared by Klingenberg.
Yeah, I'm never a fan of teams doing that, especially if you don't have the height up top. If you don't have a target player that can head the ball like a Wambach, like a Horan, the next generation.
Comes a wasted ball, right?
It does. It does. Put it on the ground. Do what you're best at. Mexico's so good in tight spaces. Excellent ball control. And they're comfortable with pressure being on the ball. Just knock it around and move. Try to build a rhythm. But maybe they don't want to get pulled out of their shape. And that's why they did that.
Heath. A little bit of room in the wing. Heath getting it outside. There's Klingenberg, the left back, ahead of her at the end line. Klingenberg will bring it back. Finding an open player. It's Bryan slotting it through. Klingenberg, and the offside flag is up. But the focus was on wide play, and we're seeing that in the first 6 minutes.
We are seeing it. It goes wide and it comes back in. That pass originally came from Bryan to Horan, and those are 2 players that have been inserted in this lineup to kind of link together as a defensive midfielder, and they can transition between being the defensive and the linking. And we're getting to see that project, that evolution of the relationship between those 2, and they're getting a lot of minutes to try to bond together and be the anchor in the core of that center of that midfield for the United States.
No foul given there, and the U.S. will take off with it with Bryan leading it. 5 on the attack. It goes wide for Dunn. Crystal Dunn sees the overlapping run from Krieger. She'll try to send it and block the first time. Second try off the left foot. Deflected in front for Klingenberg. And before it could go in a goal, Ari Romero saved it. Close call.
Klingenberg, the left back. Look at how high she is. Head coach Jill Ellis wanted more assertive play, not to take their foot off it. Comes off of Krieger with the cross. Klingenberg is on that front line. Romero does an excellent job staying with the play, being committed, and being disciplined, and clears it out of danger.
Eighth minute of play, it's scoreless. Something went against the USA there, because otherwise it would have been USA ball. Here's Dunn. They'll get it back quickly. Crystal Dunn led the NWSL last year in goals scored. Klingenberg back towards Sauerbrunn. Johnston. Lloyd first on the ball for Dunn. And that's too far. Santiago will settle things down.
So that's an example of what Jill Ellis was saying, reading the game. She wants her players to be adaptable. They've been exposed to a team that's compact, and there's not a lot of space to play between the seams. That's not the time you try to slot it through when there's really no space in behind for Morgan. Could you connect it to the feet, pass it, and maybe go out the other way and try to reestablish that width and stretch out that Mexico back line to create those seams to then play that ball.
The foul on Carly Lloyd, taking down Garcia Mendez, former captain of Stanford. It's not a whole lot there.
But Carly Lloyd does come over a little bit. I think Garcia Mendez fell. I don't think she necessarily was pushed down, but you never know sometime with the referee when they're calling it this close. I think most of the time they're doing that because they just want you to know that she's there and that she's going to have a standard, and you can't start to get a little bit too reckless.
Given away to Mejia. She's a sophomore, University of California. She gave it right back to the U.S. Klingenberg, high pressure there from Ocampo. It goes for Tobin Heath. Klingenberg. Sauerbrunn. Johnston. the middle, tapped away. Horan's on the chase. Does Mexico look organized to you defensively?
Mexico looks very organized to me defensively, mostly between the space between their midfield and their back line.
Tillman Heath, 1v1 at the moment. Help is coming. Klingenberg blocked. Ocampo takes off. Near sideline. And Morgan Bryan shut down that space. Ari Romero played 4 years at the University of Nebraska. A lot of the Mexico players with American roots, either being born here, going to college here, or playing for professional clubs. Johnston for Bryan. Scoreless here in the 11th minute. These two teams each won their first game. At the start of the game, though, it's Mexico, because of goal differential, in first place in Group A. Driven long, and that's going to be too far for anyone. It's a goal kick for Santiago. Target was Morgan. And Mexico will use the clock whenever they can as their ally. Here in the 12th minute, zeros on the board. Mexico and the United States. Last time they met was in May, and it was a 5-1 USA victory. That was in preparation for the 2015 Women's World Cup. Klingenberg turning on Ocampo. Played it to feet of Morgan. Too far away, though. Well, it's a bit early, but on Wednesday it seemed like the USA were doing a better job with the partnerships all over the field in terms of completing passes together, getting more players involved.
Right, the linking part, that it was much easier to do, though, against that opponent who wasn't as disciplined and as organized as Mexico has displayed. Now, the key for any team that comes out like this is, can you maintain it? I think Mexico's done a great job. It'll be interesting to see how long they can maintain the mental focus to have that discipline, as well as have the legs, because defending for long stretches of times is much more physically taxing than if you're on the front foot getting to attack.
Intended for Dominguez, cut off. And the U.S. will collect. They'll take on Puerto Rico on Monday. Mexico will take on Costa Rica. Final game in the group stage. Johnston. Got it forward for Lloyd. First touch fails. Farias helped to break it up. And now Mexico will send it forward. Intended for Dominguez. Johnston got a foot to that. It's a goal kick for Cecilia Santiago. Flores up the wing. Out of play. USA throw in. And they will get it in quickly. Here's Morgan. 2 goals the other night, 3 in her last 2 games. Off target with that. With Mexico being as organized as you say they are, what do you want to see different from the U.S. to break this?
First of all, a bit more patience from everybody. Excuse me, a bit more patience from everybody. I think Julie Johnston, she's seeing acres of space in front of her. She's taking it, and she's immediately trying to insert it, albeit an angled ball, which is what you need when you're trying to break lines. But maybe just a couple swings around the back or a couple swings around the midfield. Mexico's dropping off if they can do that. And secondly, horizontal movement from the midfield. They're all pretty stagnant, and if they do move side to side, it's only 4 or 5 yards. What about a 10 to 15 yard run? That'll unlock this Mexico defense.
Morgan Bryan chipping it ahead towards Lloyd. Headed away by Farias. Should be a corner kick. And this could be a challenge for Mexico, with the USA's prowess on set pieces. Julie Johnston being one of the big targets.
Yeah, Julie Johnston, look for her to run near post and be that first runner. So good at either flicking it on, redirecting it, or going it alone.
Bryan drives it low and off Santiago, and she'll grab that one. Mexico may have been fortunate the way that one turned out.
That was a bit of a surprise for Santiago. It looks like it. You know, she's cheating a bit far post. She's not in the center of her goal. She's actually to the left on the far post side, I think, anticipating a long service. But the U.S. did that last game as well. They went near post with their first one, and they had a little variety on the second one where they all started on the goal line. So their set pieces are evolving as well, because remember, they don't have Wambach anymore. They don't have that huge target that was fearless in the air. No one could compare to her in the aerial game. You couldn't defend her. So it's fun to watch who's going to step up and all the different variations they're going to try leading up to the Olympics.
Well, this is better from Mexico. Taking it upfield. Monica Flores out of Notre Dame. Broken up by Dunn. And she goes down. This time the foul goes against Mexico.
Ah, that's a great foul by Noyola. Didn't hurt anybody, wasn't intentional against Dunn, but they were exposed. They had gotten out of their shape. Noyola recognizes this, knows she's getting beat. Oh, that wasn't that bad. But Flores, 15, just got elevated from the youth national team. So this is her first experience against a team of this caliber.
Dunn versus Flores. Low shot. Looked like Santiago got a touch. Be the second corner for the U.S.
Santiago wants her defender to be a bit closer. Flores gets beat on the inside. Dunn with excellent contact on the ball. Santiago with good footwork was able to get down low and push it wide.
Bryan again drives it near post. Boy, Johnston got to it, but not the way she wanted. And this goes against the U.S. Mexico's ball. Still scoreless in the 18th minute. The U.S. has looked more dangerous on these last two corners than during the run of play, except for the Dunn shot. Santiago to the halfway line. Ocampo off Klingenberg, out for a Mexico throw-in. Dominguez. She lost it there. 14 goals in qualifying for Dominguez. That's second only to Christine Sinclair, who has 15 playing for Canada. The U.S. uncharacteristically loses it there.
That's a bit of an unforced error. It was a really difficult ball. And someone as sophisticated as Morgan Bryan, her touch with any part of her body is just impressive. Just too hard of a throw. That's one area I think the U.S. is continuing to evolve and improve on, our throw-ins and unforced errors like that. I think that's an area of growth that they can focus on.
Morgan drew the bump from Mejia. Free kick U.S. Sauerbund from Johnston. Lloyd. She gets plowed over. Foul on Nayeli Rangel. Krieger forced back. Horan. Sauerbund. Is this some of the patience you're talking about?
You see me in the booth, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is patience. And notice how you said Horan's name. We haven't said her name that much. But she just brings something so different to this side. She's been groomed in Europe. She sees the game differently than every other player wearing the U.S. jersey.
Well, that's better from the U.S. And then Horan, maybe one pass too many, was trying to find Carly Lloyd.
But that's that off-the-ball movement. She started behind Morgan Bryan on that run and was getting in angles off of her to receive it. She just anticipates it, where the ball is going to go next.
Perez pushing it back. Farias. Flores. Headed for Dominguez. Flag was up. Well, at this point, so far so good for Mexico. Leo Cuellar would take a result even close to this after 90 minutes. We saw in our last game, though, was Costa Rica only up by 2-0 over Puerto Rico at halftime. And then they scored 7 in the second half. 2 hat tricks in that game, by the way. Carla Villalobos first, and then Raquel Rodriguez with the second hat trick. Horan deeper. Was off target. Ocampo. Deflected out. Belongs to the U.S. Horan. Dropping further and further back, a little bit deeper, just to get a supply of the ball. Johnston with a cut up field. Angled pass ahead, and then Bryan slips it forward. Here's Dunn on the run, wide right. 1v1 against Garcia Mendez. That's blocked into the box. It's allowed to bounce. Those can be dangerous. Outside of the box now, Rangel intercepted by Horan. Tried to draw the foul, could not. She's still down. Passes behind Ocampo, and Mexico gives it away. Lloyd couldn't create the shot. Turn away, halfway line area.
But it is exciting. You can hear the crowd because that is her sweet spot. The 18 to the 30, I would say. She gets moving with momentum. There isn't anyone better in the world. Off the dribble with a powerful shot. And we saw that in the World Cup. We saw that in all the Olympics.
Done. Nudged off the ball by Monica Flores. Well done. Goal kick. Cecilia Santiago. Her numbers at the World Cup, not good. You can't blame it all on her, certainly, but Mexico was disappointing. That 5-0 loss against France was their exit game.
But France is one of the best teams in the world. One of the best attacking teams as well, with their level of sophistication and breaking down organized defenses. I think that's probably their biggest strength. And it's never usually due to Santiago. She is probably the biggest asset that Mexico has, an excellent keeper who has grown through the experiences. I mean, she really was put to the fire, starting in World Cups as just a teenager against quality sides, and she has grown and matured.
Crystal Dunn, right side, 5 international goals under her belt. Horan with the block, got it forward for Dunn, intended for Lloyd. It's coming all the way back and now out of play for a USA throw-in. Sauerbrunn for Morgan Bryan. To Heath. Lloyd can fire from there, gets a little closer, and they didn't get off the shot she would have wanted. She says deflected, and it was. Another USA corner, their third.
That was a great bit of attack by the United States. Starts with Morgan Bryan able to connect left to right. Ends up getting service to Lloyd. 3 players on her. Earns the team a corner kick. Now, I'm going to be curious if this changes, this service from Morgan Bryan. If it's going to be near post, if not, if they're going to go to the far.
Towards the back post. Down went Lloyd as that ball went up. Appeals for a penalty. Denied.
Lloyd gets sandwiched a bit, doesn't she?
Did she have a case?
I wouldn't give a penalty for that. I wouldn't call that, no. Because the question is, could she gone up and won that ball? Had it just been the one player from behind, then yeah. But because she was sandwiched between 2, that would have been a really difficult position to get a powerful header to beat Santiago in goal.
Zeros on the scoreboard. Mexico versus the United States from Group A. CONCACAF Olympic Qualifying Game 2 for each of these teams. Bryan. Intended for Lloyd. Now coming back after it. Horan. Intercepted by Flores. Dominguez. Trying to push it out wide. Didn't have that support up high. USA's ball. Here's Bryan. Tried the long ball. So few touches so far for Alex Morgan, especially in comparison to the other night.
Now Mexico's done a good job preventing service into her. So now she's going to do what you just saw. She's going to have to get wide of the middle of the field and get bent balls that Morgan Bryan just hit, because she's got to find that space now, because it's not anywhere near where she is. It's going to be a little bit middle to wide of the flanks.
Ten yards back for the wall, 2 in the wall. Santiago is positioning it.
Yeah, I imagine this to be an in-swinger to Lloyd or Horan.
Santiago shielding her eyes from the sunlight, facing her into the box. The attempted flick. I think Johnson was trying to pass that one along. '28th minute, scoreless. Mexico and the U.S. A USA throw-in. A longer one from Sauerbrunn into the box towards Dunn. Chuckle by Bryan. Ocampo gave it a ride out of play. Tengenberg. It's Bryan's pass for Heath. Mexico will move it ahead. Dominguez. Clear that one off. Sauerbrunn to get possession on the throw-in. But if you're playing this in 15-minute increments, if you're Leo Cuellar, he's almost at 30 minutes scoreless. Almost.
Yeah, the game plan's working out how he wants it to. The players have stayed disciplined. And they're pretty mobile. Like, Mexico's always been mobile. The question has always been, can they sustain fitness and a high level of defensive pressure when it comes into the defensive third over the course of 90 minutes? And that's going to be something we'll see. But as of right now the question is that how can they improve on the attacking side? And it's just the service into Dominguez, who doesn't look like she's trying to get in behind so much. She's just trying to hold up play and hope that Noyola or Ocampo from the right and left winger side come and help her.
Ari Romero ready for this throw-in. Toward the box, overshot Dominguez. Romero will have another go at it, blocked, and then turned away by the U.S. Mexico back in the circle. They give it away. Too many numbers here defending against Morgan Bryan. She couldn't keep it. Noyola. Ocampo. Mejia. Hope solo.
That was the best bit of attack we've seen from Mexico, and just connecting passes. And a lot of that was because number 9, Dominguez. You get to see her on the field. You see her in the top part of your screen for Mexico. You can see by her hand motions when she wants to go long or when she wants to hold it. You can see she was telling her teammates to hold it, because she was trying to gain more numbers forward.
Advantage call here. U.S. with it. They have a player down. It's Klingenberg taking it. It's going to be another corner kick. Second time Horan has been down in this first half. Past the half-hour mark.
Perez and Horan both going for that ball. I didn't think that was a foul.
So the U.S. went for the near post run on the first 2 corners. Far post on the last one. Their fourth corner. Ryan drives it toward the middle. Dominguez, very calm there. Stays near the box, edge of the box for Krieger. Trying to turn on Noyola. And Krieger lost it out. The 32nd minute. And Mexico and the U.S. are still scoreless. Dominguez. It's going to be a throw in here for Mexico. Less than half of this roster was involved in a Women's World Cup for Mexico, so they've made a lot of changes since their poor play in Canada.
They did make a lot of changes, but they kept some of the best experienced players with Dominguez, Perez, Noyola, Rangel, Garcia Mendez. Down the spine of their team, they have that experience. And with a couple young players, they got a little bit of personality. And Dominguez has said it adds kind of the passion of the team. You know, it's fun and exciting because they're so excited to be there. So this is, to me, is already a better team than what we saw in the World Cup. And I wonder how much Dominguez has to do with that, her leadership ability. Because she's an icon to these players.
Their all-time leading goal scorer, Maribel Dominguez. She's trying to get them back to the Olympics. The last time they were there, first and only time, 2004.
Yeah, I think it was an excellent call by Leo Cuellar to bring her back in. It would have been great to see her and Corral play together, but Corral's not on this roster at the same time, same lineup.
She was one of the players critical of Cuellar and not chosen.
So Mexico's starting to grow into this game a little bit. That's the second or third sequence we've seen, and now Tobin is laughing.
She got yellow.
I know she's a bit shocked about her yellow card, but her on that flank between Perez and Ocampo.
So that's the first booking of the day. Free kick, meanwhile, for Mexico. Dominguez will be one of the targets.
Yeah, Tobin comes in high. Heath comes in too high with her leg. It's more about protecting the player.
Over the ball, Veronica Perez. She's played in a couple of World Cups. She'll put that one up for grabs. Garcia Mendez was after it. Instead, Morgan Bryan gets there first. Ball was cleared out. Throw in for Mexico. 35th minute. This throw in taken by Flores. She's a twin sister that also plays at Notre Dame.
Plays for the youth national team on the women's, on the U.S. side. And she's actually got a great story because Mexico always goes to Notre Dame to play in the spring. And the head coach at Notre Dame, Teresa, said, hey, you should take a look at Monica Flores. She could play. And within a year, she was playing with the under 20s. And now, last game was her first game with the full team. So the benefit of the college season for a lot of players, not only in the United States. We get to see another look at it. Romero and Heath.
I guess she didn't agree.
That was subtle, wasn't it?
Yeah. Sarban was saying, based on the body language, that she received an elbow. So the U.S. playing with 10 at the moment. 36th minute. Still scoreless between these two. Not a lot of good chances for either side, really. Dunn probably had the best opportunity on a ball that was deflected wide by Santiago. Klingenberg. Johnston. Long ball towards Lloyd. Too far.
Well, there's a gap there that I wonder if the United States is going to start to exploit more in the second half. We see Alex Morgan running into that position a little bit, trying to find that seam between the right center back, because there are 3 center backs that Mexico has back out there, and the right outside back. It's just getting a little bit more spin at that ball, so it's a bit user-friendly to that for that runner running onto it.
Still 10 on the field for the U.S. with Sauerbrunn off on the sideline. Lloyd's header. It's blocked. Should be a goal kick for Santiago. Don't know if she wears contact lenses. I guess she does, yeah.
It looks
now
like
I can, yeah, now I see the solution. I couldn't see that before. But that's what I was wondering before, because they looked like they were treating the eye area.
Yeah.
Now we all know she wears contacts. Santiago clearance near the halfway line. Mexico will get to it. Mejia blocked by Lloyd. It's coming all the way back into the box of Mexico, driven long. Halfway line area. This time it's the U.S. winning it, but not for long. Foul on Lloyd. And Sauerbrunn is back on the field. So the U.S. back to their full complement of 11. 38th minute. Scoreless. Mexico and the United States from Group A in this CONCACAF Olympic Qualifier from Toyota Stadium in Frisco, Texas. Farias. It's going to stay in the field of play. And now Ocampo lets it go out for a throw-in. Ocampo is one of their more dangerous players. Here's Romero. She'll take the throw-in. She has been playing with the Washington Spirit of the NWSL. Used to play with Houston as well. Floated up there by Rangel. Morel was trying to get to it. Comes out for Lloyd. Carly Lloyd cutting. Nice work coming back. Campo helped out. Some good collective defending for Mexico.
Now Campo showing that engine. She usually wears herself out of games by the end of the 90th minute. But that was the right time by Lloyd to attack. Mexico had pushed forward. They were out of their defensive shape, which has been so disruptive to the United States attack. That was the right decision. But excellent hustle by Ocampo, coming back and breaking it up and then collectively making it predictable for the players in behind her.
It's a Klingenberg throw-in. The referee pointed as a USA throw-in. Now she says that's on me. It's Mexico's. Ari Romero. Long up the sideline. Klingenberg headed it back. It's Romero. Lloyd fighting to win it back. Got clipped. Advantage call. Lloyd cuts it back left. Morgan. Keith. Bryan. That's what they're trying to do. Switch the point of attack, but quicker. Now Mexico is back. Campos chasing Heath. Sauerbrunn for Johnston. 40th minute, scoreless. Mexico versus the United States. Campo. Into the middle it goes. Rangel. Given away to Klingenberg. Turns where she's got some support. Horan getting it back. Dribbling through. Tripped up by Ocampo. No call there, and Horan stays down. Here's Ocampo with room in the wing. Great job to outrun her by Sauerbrunn, who had a better angle. Morgan Bryan. Horan. Heath. Klingenberg. Taken away. That's a nice move by Morgan. Head up. She's going to earn the corner.
This is the challenge that Horan was down for a little bit. Yeah, Campo needs to be extremely careful. That is not the first time she's gone into a player. She did get the ball, but she got a good portion of Horan as well. But because of Morgan's opportunistic run and staying with it, she's earned her team a corner kick.
Morgan Bryan has taken them all. She'll drive it again. Back post area. Lloyd knotted it down, but it's out. It's not come close to a goal yet, but 20 goals in her last 15 games for Carly Lloyd, an unheard of pace. We talked about increments of 15 minutes. I mean, Mexico's almost at halftime. This would be significant, I think, for them if they could get to halftime with that 0-0 scoreline.
Well, what a confidence boost. You went out and played against the United States, but not only that, you took the United States out of their rhythm. In the first game we saw them play against Puerto Rico, it was bam, 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 and it wasn't just the partnership of Lloyd and Morgan that was impressive. It was the 2s, 3s, and 4 combinations.
Bryan left there. Lloyd, that's blocked. Klingenberg, Alex Morgan. And that's intercepted. Belongs to Mexico in the 43rd minute.
But you're getting to see glimpses from the United States figuring it out, getting their spacing right, and that movement and combining that at the right time is critical for them to break down this team. And you've seen Horan and Bryan connect a little bit, and now it's just getting that angle between Lloyd and Alex Morgan correct so they can play off each other, one a little bit higher, one a little bit lower.
You'll always hear Jill Ellis use the words adapt and adjust. She wants players to problem solve on the field as it's happening. She might change some things at halftime, but during the run of play, wants to give her players that freedom to solve the problem. It's a bad giveaway for Mexico in that part of the field. Dunn takes off up the middle. There's where you probably wanted the more patience that you were talking about before, but the U.S. are bailed out with that foul. And Mexico held strong to this point. Can they do it for another minute and a half or so and stoppage time?
Rangel, we've seen her in the NWSL for Sky Blues. Sometimes she can be a bit reckless in how she goes for challenges.
And this becomes the most important free kick of the first half. And it would be from beyond 30 yards, but still within Carly Lloyd's range. Santiago knows it. That's why she's positioning the wall kind of frantically right now. On the whistle, Lloyd will drive it. Carly Lloyd with a strike. High and wide.
Well, that's the person you want taking these balls, and that's not really misstruck by that much. It's just a little bit off is all the thing that was lacking. Just her plant foot The ball took a little bit wide turn than she wanted. But you know what you saw right there? You saw a lack of organization by Mexico because they haven't had a lot of time to prepare. A lot of these players haven't played together. They don't have the resources that the United States does. And you get to see moments like this throughout this tournament where you see the difference in resources manifest itself on the field. Like that. You won't see that happen in the United States. Every player will know where to go in that wall. So credit to Mexico that they're staying with this team, with the United States, who are better prepared coming into this tournament.
That's going to do it. First half has come to a close, and I would say, we'll get your thoughts, but I would say well done, Mexico.
Well done, Mexico, but I don't think the United States should be too frustrated. I mean, they're playing against a team that's extremely organized. This is probably the best side they've played against since the start of the year. And you've got a lot of new players out there. This is a great experience for them to figure it out.
Expecting changes at halftime, or might Jill Ellis wait a little longer?
I would give these players a little bit of instruction, try to help them out, tell them how they can fix it, and give them 10 to 15 minutes. If it doesn't work, then make some subs.
Well, both of these teams are involved in bigger scoring games on Wednesday. 45 minutes gone, no goals in this one. Tobin Heath with the yellow card after 45 minutes from Frisco, Texas. Scoreless between Mexico and the United States here at halftime.